guys, welcome back to Listen to Myself. This is Pearly. So today I want to talk about how to be less anxious in life. So before I start, I just want to share with you I'm again at a park and I don't know, I just feel like, it's really nice to come out, kind of like, otherwise I'm just gonna stay home all day long. So like having this like podcast, now turning it into like a also like video version of it. It's like pushing me to come out, at least walk around a little bit. Otherwise I'm just gonna be a couch potato at my home. And it's always really nice to listen to like the bird singing while actually a bird just like pooped on my picnic mattress, which is but anyway, it happens. So I want to talk about how to be less anxious in life. So I have to be really honest about it because I'm a really anxious person, I would say. Like I have this tendency of, I just love the feeling having full control over everything, from small things to big things. Small things such as, I'm going out to meet my friends later and I'm going to rent a shared bike to go there. I want to make sure, which shared bike station I want to go to, and when I come back, which share bike station I can go to rent like a bike home and things like that. Like for small things like this, I just want to be in control of everything. And to big things such as my career, I wanted to just like make sure that my path is already like there in front of me, and I want to be certain about as many things as possible in my life. So I just find myself like I always feel very uncomfortable when it comes to uncertainty in life. Like I just don't like the feeling of having uncertainty lay in front of me. And I just want to make sure I do everything I can to be in control of everything. And if there's like an uncertainty out there that I realize I couldn't have the control over, I will then start to hypothesize on a lot of things. I will keep trying to imagine and think that, what if this happened, this happened. And usually I will try to see it as, how do you say, like, think of it, what's going to be the worst case scenario, like, what if this has happened, this has happened. But most of the time, like, I realize I spend a lot of mental energy on just hypothesizing on so many different kind of like worst scenario or bad scenarios that usually, like, in the end, nothing like that happened. And when I look back, I realize how much mental energy and also time I spend on just hypothesizing on all these scenarios that I just like don't even know if it's what happened or not. Like I will start hypothesizing on what if this happened, what am I gonna do, and I will start feel very scared and worried and maybe even depressed and frustrated, just frustrated about the fact that why couldn't I get the control over this? I want to know in certain what will happen next, what will happen to me next, what conditions, what environment would it be like, things like that. So I find like this tendency of having like wanting to have control over a lot of things in my life has caused me to become someone who it's just like I'm anxious a lot of times. And this is like not, I feel like I wasted a lot of my mental energy on doing this kind of thing. And so that's why I started to reflect, and that's why I decided to do this episode. I think I love planning. I would have to say, oh my God, there are so many ants in front of me right now. So I got distracted a little bit, but I'm in the nature, so of course I should expect this. But again, like look at this. I'm again wanting to control like environment around me right now. Like I don't want ants on my picnic mattress, but again, Pearly, like calm down, let go of control, just let it be like that. And I think I love planning, and I think there's nothing wrong about planning your life, planning your things, planning your situations. And I actually think it's really important to plan your life. However, I also think it is important to leave some room for uncertainties to be there and to just leave some room for a miracle to happen. I recently am reading a book called I May Be Wrong. And I really, really love this book. This is such a great book. I think one of the best books I have read in my recent years. And one thing that really stood out to me is when the author talked about like this statement, this sentence, this phrase of, just like this mindset of just leave room for miracles to happen, because a lot of times like good things in our life or like surprising things in our life, like good things in our life, it's so beautiful right now. All the leaves are coming down from the trees above me. Anyway, like a lot of things, good things in life are actually like things that we don't even know is going to happen, like we don't have control over them. It just happens, and it's a miracle. And if we always have control over everything in our life, then those miracles might not have room to happen because we are already in control over them. I don't know if it makes sense or not. Let me give you like an analogy, like an example. For example, like Google Map. Right now, like technology is so convenient, especially like Google Map is just so convenient. No matter where you travel, you can always use Google Map to navigate your direction, your route, and where you want to go, which public transportation to take. And I would say like it benefits our lives immensely. Immensely. I really appreciate the existence of it. However, sometimes if we just like, how do you say, especially when you walk around, right now I try to like train myself to not look at Google Map that much anymore, because sometimes like those like little restaurants, little cafes, like, or those like surprising like things on the streets, those might not be on the route that Google Map made for you. Like if you just like closed your Google Map and then just like wandering the streets by yourself without looking at the map, there is a higher chance of you to just find like some surprises on the streets. And I think that's what makes life interesting. So if this analogy makes sense to you, then I guess you get what I mean by, just like leave room for a miracle in life to happen. For me, especially when it comes to like my career, my relationship, and also a lot of like adventures or challenges I want to do in life. For example, about career. So I think the reason why just a few years ago, my dream was to become a lawyer, right? To go to law school, to become a lawyer and work at a big law firm, hopefully, and earn a lot of money and things like that. I guess one of the reasons I decided to do it at that time was also because I love having the sense of control over my career in general. I want every step to be clear in front of me. Well, yeah, in the end, I realized that it's just not for me, and I don't want to become a lawyer. I don't want to work as a lawyer. I don't want to go to law school. And I basically went from one extreme of like having like a pretty clear path in front of me, to become someone who is like, yeah, just a content creator. And like I'm self-employed, so there are like so many uncertainties lying in front of me, no matter financially or like, opportunity wise or like stability wise, and etc. So I would say I went from one extreme to another. And I think those experiences is very humbling. Like it taught me the importance of just letting go of control and just let the uncertainties just be there with you and just learn to be comfortable with uncertainties. I find really interesting, and I would say even a little bit mysterious, or even a little bit, it's just, I don't know how to put that into words, but I think we all want to be happy. We all want to find the happiness. And sometimes letting this uncertainty to be there and just let go of some control, it's allowing your inner voice to come out, your instinct to come out to you, and to listen, like to let yourself to have room to listen to those voices, those inner voices that is just like there, always there, but you've never really paid attention to because you are always so hyper focused on having control over a lot of things that you think you want to do or you think you should do, but we forgot to listen to those inner voice. So I think letting the uncertainties and letting go of control and let the uncertainties be there with you leaves a lot of room for those voices, those feelings to come out, which is very, very valuable and precious, because those voices might already be signaling you, telling you what actually would make you happy in your life, what you really wanted to do, what genuinely interests you, and things like that. So I think it's really important. And also relationship-wise, whether it's friendship or romantic relationships, I'm also very anxious about all this. I will always feel like, oh, I want to be in this friend group, and so I want to try, control and try my best to fit into this. Or for a romantic relationship, am I even going to get married, or am I even going to find a boyfriend, or things like that. There's a lot of anxiety surrounding these kind of things, and I just realized that being anxious about all these things is not going to help in any sense. I mean, it is totally normal to feel anxious about all these things, but it's just that I think it's important to realize that I think a lot of times, at least for me, I feel like if I'm not doing something, then it means that if something didn't go the way that I wanted it to go, then I could only blame myself because I'm not trying hard enough. But sometimes it is also important not to try. I know it sounds kind of counterintuitive, but just like what I said, just kind of let it be and let go of control and just let things happen naturally. And this is also doing something already, Oh my God, something I just dropped. So sorry, I keep getting distracted. So many things happen around me right now. Nature is full of uncertainties. Yeah, unexpected things happen on me. Oh my God. And it's not okay, and it's on my body right now. But anyway, just let those things to happen is also try to let those things to happen. That the uncertainties just be there is also doing something. It's not doing something, but you are already doing something, and I think that's very, very important. And also a lot of challenges and adventures that I want to take in life. For example, go on a solo travel, a solo trip, and then move abroad and things like that. There's also a lot of uncertainties out there, and I always got so anxious about all these things. I want to make sure, okay, so which train I'm going to take, which flight I'm going to take, and after I arrive there, which Wi-Fi I'm going to buy, which SIM card I'm going to buy, which bank account I'm going to open. Of course, it's always it's important to learn about these things before your trip, for sure. However, to find the fine line between be anxious and want to have control over all these things with, and just like kind of like just trust, have this kind of the faith of just trusting things will be okay. Like it's important to find this balance. And just I think the thing is, sometimes we have this tendency that we either think something is white. If something is not white, then we think it's black. If something is not black, then we think it's white. But it doesn't always to be like in these two extremes, right? So when you like trust things will be okay, it doesn't mean that you do nothing to plan to learn about the situations in maybe another country that you are going to move to or travel to. It only means that try to find like a balance point, not necessarily to one end, like the extreme of not doing anything or the extreme of doing too many things. You know what I mean? So I find that really important. And just like what I said, sometimes like we can't help but to be afraid about what might happen in the future, or be very scared, and just we feel uncomfortable with the uncertainty in the future. But one thing I find really helpful for me to get over this anxiety is to first, just like what I said, having the mindset of just let the miracle happen, leave room for miracle to happen. Of course, maybe something that is not so pleasant might happen. Not all the time going to be like nice surprises and miracles, but I would say instead of being anxious and making a lot of hypotheses at the present moment, spending a lot of mental energy, I would say just try to let go of the control and just trust. Just have this like power of just like trusting yourself, trusting your life, just things will just be okay. And I also find meditation to be really helpful. Just like when you meditate, just try to focus on breathing. And when you really like are hyper focused on just like breathing in and breathing out, you really learn how to be in the present moment. And this skill is so valuable, because when you are actually living the present moment, I know it sounds so cliche, but it is very, very important, a very important skill to learn. And I find this helps a lot with me finding my inner peace. This whole podcast, my purpose to try to find inner peace through having these conversations with you guys, right? So I find meditation is a really, really helpful practice to try to train my mind to be 100% in the present moment. And when you live in the present moment, you will no longer pay too much attention on the past or on the future, and it will help a lot in lessen your anxiety. The thing is, like our life, it's basically consists of our thoughts is basically consist of the past and also the future. So for the future, we will have this tendency for sure we want to predict. We have this urge to predict what will happen in the future, right? And when we are predicting what will happen in the future, or we are imagining what will happen in the future, we are like thinking about that. A lot of time, those thoughts are based on our past experiences, but it's actually not the whole picture, like everything that we experience in past, but we only kind of remember, most of the time we only remember those that make us feel emotional, like things that are more, dramatic, like maybe we feel sad, so we remember it more clearly, or we feel really happy, or we feel very nervous and things like that. So you will realize that when we are trying to imagine what will happen in the future, what we think will happen in the future are mainly based on just a little fraction of our past. Those experiences we actually remembered, only those things. So the future that we think will happen in our head usually are just like things that might happen, but we think it will happen, but it just might happen. But we always forgot the fact that it's not necessarily going to happen. I think when we are in the present moment, we'll really be afraid and think that, no, I think it will happen. And because we are afraid and we have this like emotions coming up, we have this feelings coming up. So we will think that way. But just be careful about the thought in your head when it comes to predicting your future. It's not necessarily going to happen. So don't worry too much about it. Don't be too anxious about it. And yeah, that's basically what I wanted to share today with you guys. I actually learned a lot of this like mindset from the book that I'm reading right now. I may be wrong. So I really recommend you to check out this book if you're interested. And I just want to end this episode by saying that I think the concept, no, not the concept, but the mindset of having trust in life, of like trusting things will just be fine, of trusting you can totally make it, of trusting yourself, trusting others. This ability is so important to cultivate. And again, I just want to remind you that I'm not saying that you should just trust everything will be okay and just lie there and do nothing and be careful about nothing. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that it's important to cultivate that kind of mindset, that kind of attitude, that kind of skill maybe, to help you find the balance between trying to control everything over life and just learn about letting it go and letting go of the control and leave room for miracle to happen. That's really important. As you might already can tell, like I'm still learning about these whole things and I'm still actively training myself and practicing all this, just be mindful of my present moment and not just predicting or not be anxious too much about my future or all the uncertainties lying in front of me. And I'm really glad that I think this it's definitely making me feel more peaceful, finding my own inner peace, and yeah, I find it really valuable, really, really precious. So I am glad that today I get to share this little episode, this little thoughts, some of my perspectives in this episode, and I hope you enjoyed it. And I'll see you again in the next episode. Bye bye. Oh, okay. Oh, the thing is, I already got bitten by a mosquito. Oh my God, such a big one. So anyway, bye bye.